Good morning, everybody. What up? Welcome to Philly with Jon Marks on PHLY. As always, brought to you by BetPARX. Eagles still 7.5-point favorites over the Jags on Sunday. That line has moved a half of a point. It has remained that all week long. A lot to talk about today on this Halloween. We are not dressed up. JP is not dressed up. I am not dressed up. Andrew Frazier from the Anthony Gargano Show is dressed up as Larry David, and it's a great costume. Not sure if the Cuz or Violations Greg is dressing up today, but we did not dress up. I have obligations after I'm out of here. I have a nursery school Halloween parade. I have 2 elementary school Halloween parties today, and then trick or treating. So I'll be in my costume a little bit later, but we will speak some Halloween topics coming up later on, so stay tuned for that. But fun. We get to start with the 76ers this morning. And by the way, shout out to everybody that's watching live on YouTube or mad chatters out there. Good morning to everybody that's watching on Roku TV. And if you're watching later on YouTube or on podcast or wherever, what's up? Thanks for joining us. The 76ers lose last night to the Pistons, 105-95, down at the Wells Fargo Center. They were behind by 20 points with, I think it was 3 minutes and some odd seconds left to go. So they were actually in the fourth quarter trailing the Pistons by 20 points. The Pistons won 14 games last year, and they were trying. Like when the Sixers were terrible, they were trying to lose games. The Pistons were trying to win games last year and could only manage 14 wins. They were 0-4 entering the game last night, and it's the whole second half. The Sixers made a little bit of a surge to try to get it closer. Game was over. It was a brutal game, terrible game. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it because if you look at that roster, and I'll just like the Sixers last night, Martin, Drummond, Lowry, Maxey, Oubre. When Oubre shoots 5 for 14 and Martin shoots 2 for 10, Kyle Lowry he looks like he's 48, not 38, and he's had a great career. I don't want to speak poorly of him. You don't need him in the starting lineup. He only played 20 minutes. But like I said, I don't want to spend a lot of time on this team or on this game last night because, honestly, when Joel Embiid and Paul George come back, they're going to be fine. They're going to be a good team. Are they going to win a championship? I don't think so. But they'll be a good team. So spending too much time on what happened last night during the game, even though it was the lowly Pistons, even though the Sixers should be able to beat the Pistons on their home court, with the roster that they've assembled. Daryl Morey should be able to assemble a roster that can beat the Pistons last night. They didn't do it. I'm not going to spend too much time on it. They lost. When Joel Embiid and Paul George get back, they will be fine and they will win games, and they'll blow teams like the Pistons out. The problem is the 76ers continue to commit unforced errors when it comes to this Joel Embiid injury stuff. Because honestly, I don't think anybody cares about the injury. I don't think anybody would have cared about the injury. But the Sixers very strangely continue with this very strange behavior. Before we get to that, last night, one of the big stories was the return of Tobias. Tobias Harris returns to the Wells Fargo Center. JP is with me again this morning. JP, I know that we talked about it yesterday. Should they give him a tribute video? Will they not give him a tribute video? Will he speak before the game? What will he say about the fans? You correctly predicted he takes the high road and he says positive things, which he did.
Yep.
I thought. I mean, it was fine. I don't feel a need to play it. It was fine. I was glad that he did that, just so we didn't have to complain about it and fans didn't have to kill him for that. So he spoke before the game, and he did fine. But then he's introduced. So you had to figure he was going to hear some boos. So here's Matt Cord introducing Tobias Harris last night down at the Wells Fargo Center.
Michigan number 8, Tim Hardaway Jr. 6'8", the Tennessee number 12, Tobias Harris. 6'6", number 2,
I texted Matt this morning and I was like, nice job quickly moving on from Tobias. Yeah, he got the boos. You don't want to pause so he gets really, really booed and then go to the next one. Because I'm sure Tobias was the nice guy to Matt and a lot of 76er people down there. But whatever. So yeah, no real surprise for that. But then the question was, is there going to be an intro video? Or is there going to be a tribute video? And there was the tribute video. Here's early in the first quarter. Because God knows what would I have done if I didn't get the Sixers to pay tribute to Tobias and Paul Reed. Paul Reed was making his return. I had forgot that he had signed with the Pistons.
That's right.
How could you forget? But here's a tribute video, not only to Tobias, but to Paul Reed. Here it is. If you're listening on audio, it's like a bunch of Mighty ball. That's bad. Yeah, I've seen enough. It's just so unnecessary. Even if you're not a great player, but you're a part of great teams and you have moments, then you can play that stuff. Christ, Bobby Jones was a good starter. His numbers retired by the 76ers. You look at his numbers, you'd be like, well, they retired Bobby Jones' number. Yeah, they won a championship. He was a huge part of the team. He was their sixth man. He was a defensive stopper. You can't look at the box score and understand why Bobby Jones' number retired as the 76ers. But, like, he was important to the team. So some players, even role players, you could come up with a tribute video that would have big moments. What the hell big moment are you going to have from Tobias Harris?
And that's the thing, like in today's day and age, like the tribute video has turned into kind of like the participation trophy, right, John? Like you're getting people who like, you're like, do they really deserve to
Everybody
get a
needs
tribute
one.
video? Yeah, it's just everyone needs to feel good, I guess, about it. But like, yeah, Tobias Harris. And the thing is, we talked about it yesterday. We thought Tobias Harris was going to get one because he did leave with the organization, not the fan base, not Sixers Nation. He left the organization on good terms, and so they love him. So
yeah, it's just the Sixers again, not caring about the fans or not worried about putting the fans in a bad spot where they boo them or there's a tribute video, and now we're bad people all over again. So congratulations to Tobias Harris.
It is funny that it was mixed with Paul Reed. Like
they thought maybe that would well, I just think that, I mean, if you're going to give Tobias Harris a tribute video, why not Paul Reed as well?
Right. Yeah, you're right, man. It's
Who
hilarious.
else that left can you get? Andre Drummond, when he leaves after this year, does he get a tribute video?
I'm sure he will.
So
man.
listen, congratulations to Tobias Harris. He's ripping off the Pistons now at a tune of $26 million over the next 2 years, and I'm sure that they will be unhappy with Tobias Harris. Before the game, and we knew this was coming because Nick Nurse came on the day before they got fined, wouldn't answer questions about Joel Embiid. Then it comes out that the team's been fined. So now he's got to answer questions about Joel Embiid and the team being fined. Our own Kyle Neubeck, who's questioning the answers and answering the questions, and Howard Eskin. You're going to hear this in this exchange. So this is how it sounded yesterday pregame, because for whatever reason, they just can't seem to get this right. And it's really not all that complicated. Here's Nick Nurse and Kyle yesterday.
Yesterday, this effectively said, the problem was not that Joel didn't play based on the medical information. The problem was whatever was communicated by I don't know if it was just you, Daryl, whoever it might have been. So what do we need to know? Like, what is the gap there? And what is to your knowledge, what is the reason that you guys were fined?
I didn't even know we were fined. We were fined. That was made public. Yeah, I did. Sorry, I didn't.
Yeah, there's a press release that they said that your comments,
your name
as an organization,
so pause it right there. Do we really believe that Nick Nurse didn't know? He's going to mention Dave and Daryl Morey. Dave Schaller is the vice president of communications. You're trying to tell me that he didn't know about it? that he is so buried in his work that he's not advised by it's $1 billion business, multi-billion dollar business. He wasn't advised that his name in an NBA press release said that he wasn't being truthful or forthcoming about Joel Embiid's injury. Do you buy that? I don't.
Dude, this man doesn't know how to lie. He's a terrible liar.
Look at him. Look at him looking away. Look at him looking away.
He knows. Come on now.
Come on. All right, now hit it. Now play.
I guess wherever Joel is. So I'm just trying to get from that place post-Olympics. You're happy he went. He's on schedule. He doesn't play. And the league says it's fine that he doesn't play. But we've never heard anything from August till now other than he's on schedule, everything's fine.
Yeah, I'm going to have to punt that one on you. You're going to have to ask Daryl or Dave or Elton or somebody that one. I'm not even.
All right, stop it there. Stop it there. He has just said, and this is the best thing he said over the last 2 days. You have to ask Daryl, and he's right. It's time for Daryl Morey to come out and talk. He's the president or the GM or the president of basketball operations. This is his show. This is his show. He hired Nick Nurse. Nick Nurse is the coach. Mm-hmm. Nick Nurse only has so many different things that he can say. Mm-hmm. Daryl Morey needs to come out and address it. This isn't Nick Nurse's medical plan. This is the plan of the organization, and Daryl Morey speaks for the organization. It's time for Daryl Morey to come out and speak. He should come out and speak today about it, whether it's a radio interview, a TV interview, whatever it is. He needs to come out and address it because this really isn't a big. This isn't a big story. They're making this a bigger story than it needs to be.
You're spot on, John. Like, he does need to say something, but the reason why we know he won't, because if he does, he has to actually answer the question, whereas Nick Nurse can kind of like steer away from it. But the thing is that he doesn't know how to handle these situations. Like we talked before going on air today, like the last 2 years, you dealt with the Ben Simmons situation, you dealt with the James Harden situation. Were those situations handled in the best ways? Exactly, no. So now you have this situation, and again, we have more drama, and this man does yet not know how to handle it. So
here's more. Here's Howard starts pressing him here.
I got fired yesterday.
Nick, why?
I got a game, several games to coach, and lots of things going on.
Nick, why do you prefer not to address it? As the head coach, you're the only voice for us here and for the public, and you prefer not to address these questions that people want to know about.
Well, I'm not the only voice.
You are now.
Well, today I am. But I'm here because we have a basketball game.
Nick, do you think it's fair to your paying customers and your fans to not have any idea when your star player is going to play?
That's a big question to lead off with. Listen, our guys are working out. There are...
So you can stop it because he doesn't give you anything right there. It is a tough question because the nature of basketball in the NBA today and Joel Embiid is that while you'd love for all your fans to know exactly when they're playing and when they're not, you're taking your life into your own hands as far as buying tickets when you buy a ticket to an NBA game. That's not Nick Nurse's fault. Nick Nurse can't tell fans, hey, Joel Embiid's going to play this day, Joel Embiid's going to play that day. They can obviously do a better job of maybe communicating that. But if you're going to buy a ticket to an NBA game, you have to be ready for your star player not to play, especially if you're a 76er fan, period. I don't blame Nick Nurse for that. I don't. It sucks. Sucks if you're a 76er fan. It sucks if you buy tickets to go down and you don't get to see Joel Embiid play. And you see that slop last night. You could buy a $30 lower level ticket last night on StubHub to see that game. And that's why. That's why. Mm-hmm. So Keith Pompey is going to join us in a little bit more than 10 minutes, 8:25 live, to discuss all of this stuff. Keith Pompey from the Philadelphia Inquirer. So don't go anywhere. Let's get to some headlines, though. Sponsored by Glatt Hair Restoration. Bald's now optional if you want to improve how you look and how you feel. Glatt Hair has the right treatment for you. Regain your confidence. Visit Glatt, G-L-A-T, hair, MCTR.com. GlattHairMCTR.com or call 610-980-4000 to speak to their hair team. If you want to keep up to date with everything Philly sports and beyond, PHLY Daily, delivered directly to your inbox every morning. And Rich Hoffman Jr., he's up late. He's giving you everything you need from all of our different brands. PHLY Sixers, Kyle and Derek and Devon doing such a great job with this coverage right here. And we're bringing it all to you, and Rich puts it all together. It's free. You can subscribe at allphly.com. All right, Dodgers are World Series champs. They beat the Yanks 7-6, winning the series 4-1. It was 5-0. Dodgers are trailing, entering the bottom of the fifth, but they score 5 unearned runs to even it up. A couple of errors, and then with 2 outs, Garrett Cole failed to cover first base on a ground ball. 100 times out of 100 times, the pitcher's got to run over and cover first base. If he does, it's an out and the inning's over. Meanwhile, they follow with run scores on that play, and then Freddie Freeman has a 2-run single, and Hernandez hits a tying 2-run double. They tied at 5. Yankees take the lead 6-5 in the 6th, but the Dodgers retake the lead bottom of the 8th. And then it's Game 3 starter Walker Buehler for the 9th for the save. He went 1-2-3, including a strikeout of Alex Verdugo. So here's how it sounded. This is Nick Picone's Twitter account. It's Dodgers Radio. Here's how it sounded, the Dodgers winning the World Series.
Verdugo whiffs again. That's strike 2.
Uh-oh.
Another curveball. That's been a good one for Walker Buehler coming in here.
Listen to a pin drop. I would have left by now.
Dave Roberts can hardly watch. Here's the 1-2 pitch from Buehler. Got him swinging! That's it! It's a World Series win for LA! They've done it! They finished the job and give Los Angeles the parade it's been waiting for!
I want to feel this, man. Jeez.
A swarm of Dodgers on the right side of the infield.
I don't even know who that is. All right, that's enough. That's enough.
Yes, sorry to get sick there.
Is that Tim Neverett? That's not Charlie Steiner.
Oh, where are you looking at?
Because he did many years as the radio voice of the Dodgers. All right, so that's that. Pretty uninspiring. Here is the Yankees final call, losing the World Series. This is John Sterling, who's 86 years old, and he came out of retirement to call it.
Right.
So you have the Garrett Cole thing up there right
Give me
now, which is
seconds here.
brutal.
I'll get you the.
And you can see it.
But
John Sterling's 86. He sounds every bit of 86. He came back out of retirement, which he should have never done. I was totally against it. Like you're retired, retire. You don't have to come back because the Yankees are making a playoff push or whatever. So what? Now is he going to go into retirement? He's not going to call any more games until next year if they get back there. Like anyway,
got it right.
Yeah. So John Sterling and Susan Waldman on the call, and the Yankees lose it. And here's how it sounded.
Count 1-2. His breaking ball's a knuckle curve. It was 78. So he throws hard enough that when you get a pitch at 78, you may be in front. Now here's the 1-2 to Verdugo. Breaking ball, cut on and miss. Strike 3. Ball game over. World Series over. Dodgers win. Los Angeles is the new champion, and they are nuts on the field.
There you go. All right, and we got to move along here, but one more thing. So after the game, Juan Soto now is a free agent, and he may get the biggest contract in Major League Baseball history. Maybe not as much as Ohtani, but like dude is going to get paid.
Cha-ching.
Yeah. So he literally. So the game's over. The paint's not even dry from the Dodgers winning the World Series. Here's Juan Soto being asked after the game about his free agency.
I don't know what's the teams that want to come after me, but definitely I'll be open to listen every single team. I don't have any doors closed or anything like that, so I'm going to be available for all 30 teams.
You heard him, John. Available for all 30 teams, man.
Yep. A true Scott Boras client.
Yep, that's right.
He was prepared to go even after the loss. I mean, I honestly, and I would think the human answer is, hey, guys, listen, I understand the question. I know my free agency is coming up. It's going to be a big topic of conversation, but we just lost the World Series, and this was an unbelievable year, and it's really disappointing to get this close and to not win it. So there'll be a time to talk about free agency, and we will, but right now is not the time. As opposed to, it's like you had the for sale sign in your hand. You're like, the World Series. Oh, what just happened? Here we go. For sale. Where am I going? Scott Boras client, man.
Yeah, man, that's crazy. Like you lose the World Series and you're thinking about your bag right after. I mean, that can't sit right with you if you're a fan of any team.
Well, listen, what are you going to do? One more note on that. Philadelphia Phillies fans, Juan Soto is not coming to Philadelphia.
I'm kind of mad on that.
Get it out of your thick head.
I'm out on that, dude. We don't need it. And the thing is like we like Dombrowski did say, like we have enough stars. Like I don't think you need like top end type of players. Like you need some more of like those role players.
If Juan Soto would come to the Phillies, I'd be bring him to the Phillies. It's not going to happen.
What's the upgrade to like a Gene Segura type? That's what I'm looking for. More guys like that. An upgrade to Gene Segura.
Contact hitters, guys that can go the other way.
Exactly.
Well, that's how they're going to improve their team. They're not signing Juan Soto.
Don't need that.
I get it. Sports radio is gonna do stuff with it because they're gonna say they should do it. It's not realistic, and I know not all sports conversations are realistic. I've lived it for a long time, but I'm here to stop it right now. They were trying to do the same thing with Mike Trout last year. Like Mike Trout's not coming to Philadelphia. They're not trading for Mike Trout,
right?
Because Trout doesn't want to come here. So anyway, There you go. Keith Pompey is going to join us coming up here in 5 minutes. I want to get his take on everything that's going on with the 76ers. But first, we got to do a little talking about my guys at Central City Toyota. Central City Toyota. My Uncle Jamie's coming up later in the show. He's the general manager of Central City Toyota. He's got his college football locks of the week, which are amazing. But Central City Toyota in the heart of University City, 55 years on Chestnut Street. Amazing selection of certified vehicles. One price approach, no pricing games. Everything's transparent and easy. That's true. I've been a customer for 20 years of Central City Toyota. So see my Uncle Jamie and his amazing staff, but also service and parts. The largest dealership in the city of Philadelphia. So, true story. On Wednesday, I need 4 new tires on my minivan. My wife drives a minivan, but I can still say it's my minivan, right? Yes, I drive a minivan from time to time. I need 4 new tires. Guess where I'm going? Uncle Jamie, Central City Toyota. You can drop your car off to get serviced. Take the shuttle. If you're working in the city, take the shuttle into work. Get the shuttle, bring it back up. Also, Central City Toyota provides pickup and delivery for service. Now, that's on an appointment basis. You got to make an appointment on the website, but still, they'll come to your office or garage. They'll pick up the car. They'll take it up. They'll service it, drop it back off. That's service for you. CentralCityToyota.com for that. And see my Uncle Jamie. It's a family thing. I have a Highlander. My wife has a Sienna. My mom has a RAV4. Everybody in our family, Central City Toyota customers. It's family for me. So if I'm saying it, I'm not just saying it. 55 years on Chestnut Street, a heart of your University City, CentralCityToyota.com. All right, let's talk about BetPARX for a second. The only sportsbook app I would ever recommend, BetPARX and the BetPARX Sportsbook app and online casino. All right, check it out. Eagles minus 7.5 on the Jags. I think that might go up to 8 by kickoff on Sunday. So if you're looking to bet the Eagles, I think it's worth staying where you're at 7.5 and see if it goes down to 7. But it might go up to 8. So if you want to buy in now, buy in now. Jets minus 2 over the Texans tonight, Thursday Night Football. I can't tell you. Beginning of the season, you probably looked at this game and you said, oh, man, that's a pretty good Thursday night matchup. I'm assuming that's going to be Anthony's lead coming up at 9 o'clock. The Sixers stink. Hey, Anthony, they won 14 games last year, the Sixers. And they were, the Pistons. They were trying to win games, and they only won 14 games last year. And they're 0-4 this year until they came into the Wells Fargo Center. It's fun being a Sixer fan, Ant.
Oh, my God. It's torture. It really is. Dude, this team has tortured us. It's unbelievable. Johnny, every season, you can't even enjoy anything. You can't even enjoy Maxey. Maxey's the greatest, right? And you watch him and you're pained that he can't get a shot off that's not over 3 guys.
Yeah, because they know that Kyle Lowry can't create his own shot.
Oh, my God. It's just, listen, I get everything's built around Embiid and Paul George, but this whole league is torturous. It's torturous. I mean, they're just unwatchable without those two.
No, they're unwatchable. And ultimately, like, I didn't spend a lot of time on the game last night because...
Good for you.
I mean, because they suck, and I know they're going to suck.
No,
so I can
right.
bang my head into the wall yelling about it. When Embiid and George come back, they'll be fine until they're not fine.
Yeah.
When there's another injury or there's some other nonsense that goes on.
Right. Like here's the problem. The whole thing is built around the playoffs, right? So it kills any sort of enjoyment you'll have at the regular season. Because like you said, you know that one or two, once they come back, there'll be a stretch, and then they'll play decent ball, and they'll look good. And then Paul George will be out one night, and Embiid will be out 3 games, and it's just going to be a slog until you get to the regular season.
Hurry up and get to the playoffs.
Yeah, and I hate just flushing an entire regular season. It's not fun.
Yeah, it sucks. You watch sports because you like the journey, and you like the story and the personalities or whatever.
Amen, brother. Amen.
Eagles 2003 was a similar year where we were so mad about 2002. It was like, just hurry up and get to the playoffs.
Yeah.
2004, you can enjoy TO, so that was an enjoyable year.
In 2003, remember they started off real bad, and then Westbrook saves the season.
And they went on a run.
And they were fun. Like, football, you as much as you go, it's about the Super Bowl. You dive in week in week, like
Yeah,
you're
football's
still in,
different.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like a whole NBA season is just, oh my God, horrible. This is tough.
I'll say hi to everybody.
Hello, everybody.
Waving.
There he is.
Hi.
He's got. There's the
doing?
big meat hands.
Hello. My man, JP.
The big meat locker hands.
You're the best, buddy. As I love Johnny. How about Jay? He's the best.
It's fun. It's been fun in the mornings.
He's a great guy. He's the greatest.
Well, thank you very much.
We love you. All right, buddy.
The Sixers may not think I'm the greatest based on my commentary over the last
Hey,
couple
listen.
days.
Are you kidding? If they're going to be honest, they would agree. So give me a break.
Like,
Listen, we all want, I know where your heart lies. All of our hearts lie that we want them to do well, to succeed.
Of course.
It's more fun. Besides the fact that we all grew up fans.
Yep.
Beyond that, it's just makes for a fun climate when they're winning, when everybody's winning.
Yep.
Nobody wants to criticize just for the sake of being a jackal. We're not like that.
No. We just want to have fun.
Exactly.
This has not been fun.
Yeah.
All right, cuz.
You're the man, brother.
Thank you. Anthony's coming up live at 9 o'clock on PHLY. By the way, Flyers minus 130 tonight. Back to BetPARX. Flyers minus 130. The Blues plus 108. The Flyers are favorites at home on the postgame show tonight. Our own JP with Bill, Matz, and Charlie. There you go. While you're watching the games, live dealer, blackjack, craps, and roulette, and more. So, BetPARX.com for details. Your casino bonus, if you sign up right now, $1,000 casino bonus for new customers. Must be wagered. Must be 21 and in PA, New Jersey, Maryland, Ohio, or Michigan. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, let's talk to them right now. 76ers. Like I just said with the Cuz, I didn't spend a lot of time on the game last night because I don't see a lot of reason to do it. But we'll talk about it all with our next guest. He's an award-winning Sixers and NBA reporter for the Philadelphia Inquirer and the pride of North Catholic. Mr. Keith Pompey joins us. What's up, Keith?
What's good, man? What's up?
Quickly, on the game last night, the Sixers should beat the Pistons, even with Joel Embiid and Paul George out. Is this team's roster bad to where they should be losing to a Pistons team at home?
Yeah, it is weird. I think the roster is built for when you have three superstars who basically have to carry the load, and then you have like specialized role players, like a guy who can rebound. You have a guy who can knock down shots. You have a guy a hustle guy. But when you take those two of those stars out, then you look at these guys and they just have a lot of deficiencies, right? So I think the problem is that they're just too dependent on Joel, Paul, and Maxey. That's the problem with the roster.
Yeah, when you look at Boston, for instance, obviously when you have three players of that caliber, that's what's going to carry you. But as we've learned with this team, and now Paul George joining the team, there's an injury history with these players, obviously. So you got to be able to win games with these guys out for an extended period of time. The Celtics are deep, man. I mean, their starting five is good. So if you were to lose a Jaylen Brown or a Jason Tatum, they're still going to win games. Man, if the plan this year is to rely on Joel Embiid and Paul George and Tyrese Maxey, and this is what the rest of the team looks like, they better stay healthy. Because, once they come back, they're a good team. Once Joel and Paul George get back, which we'll talk about in a second, they're a good team. Without them, they're not a good team. And, and you saw that last night. That was a brutal game to watch.
Exactly. And the prime thing you talked about Boston. Let's say, for instance, let's just say Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday, right now he's asked to be a role player on that team. But we all know that, he's a former all-star, all defensive type of guy. And if you put him in the right situation, he's able to take over. But he's just a role player on that team. And you're right. And the problem is when we look at the 76ers, you'll say to yourself, well, who is a guy who can step up and get buckets? And the only person that I can say right now that can do that for you on a consistent basis is kind of like a Kelly Oubre Jr. But he's not on the level of a Drew Holiday. You understand what I'm saying? So yeah, that's the major difference right then and there.
He's not consistent enough. It's a good way of saying it. The entire roster is dependent on Joel Embiid and Paul George, because then those other guys fall right into place and you're good. All right, so just what is your opinion on this whole thing with Joel Embiid and Paul George? Not even Paul George, just Joel Embiid. To me, this is a non-story if it's handled correctly in training camp. And even right before the start of the regular season, when he's not going to be ready to start the season, if they just would have taken care of it then, I don't even think we're talking about it right now, but they didn't. And the NBA now gets involved, and the NBA fines them because they're not being forthcoming about the injury. What's your opinion on how the Sixers have handled this so far?
That's a great question, because, you can go a lot of different ways with that, right? But the thing is, I think that, yes, the Sixers could have been a whole lot more transparent, but I also believe that is Joel Embiid. I think it's him calling the shots. I do think that there's a chance that there's a point in time where they know, okay, he's not playing. But prior to that certain situation, and I think it's closer than what people think, it's kind of like they're waiting for Joel to make the decision. But they're all trying to protect Joel, right? They're all trying to say, all right, it's a collaborative effort. We're doing this, we're doing that. They're protecting them, but they're basically, hey, are you ready to go? Are you able to go? And he's like, no, and then all of a sudden they throw Nick Nurse out there. I think the problem is that, Nick Nurse shouldn't be the one who always has to answer the questions. Joel last spoke to the media on October the 3rd in the Bahamas. And what he said was, hey, I'm going to take my time. I'm not going to rush back. Well, what he should have came back later and said, I'm not ready. It's probably going to be a couple weeks. I'm sorry to the fans. I'm sorry to this and that, but I'll be ready. But I think what they think is that if you play the games, they will come. And so whenever Joel Embiid comes back, a lot of people, and if the Sixers are successful, a lot of people are going to forget about them being 1-3 right now. They're going to forget about that. As long as he's successful. But at the same time, I feel like a little bit more, a lot more transparency and making Joel be accountable will go a long way.
It's a really good explanation what you said. So the Sixers, meanwhile, they say it's a collaborative effort that is really completely dictated by Joel Embiid and his agents. And they may have been waiting right up until Nick Nurse came out and said they're not ready to start the regular season. Keith, you obviously hear a lot more whispers than I do. Did they think that Joel Embiid, even the day before the season was starting, did they still think there was a possibility Joel Embiid was playing in that opener?
Nah, they had to know by then, because the thing is, John, you've been covering sports in Philly longer than I have, and it's just one of those things where, if a guy hasn't practiced yet, if he hasn't scrimmaged, and you're not going to throw him out there. So they need to see what he was doing. But I will say, probably the week before, I'm pretty sure they were thinking okay, is he going to go? Is he not going to go? But right before that, yeah, everybody had to know. It's one of those things they had to know. And Nick Nurse, how he came out yesterday and basically said, well, we'll have a pretty good idea on Friday. That's because they're going to go and scrimmage they say they don't have practice today, but something tells me that Joel Embiid is going to be in the gym with some other guys getting the run in. Right. And something tells me they're going to do it tomorrow too. And then Nick is going to evaluate it moving forward. But I don't think they came to that stage before the start of the season. And that's why they were like, nah, it's not going. But again, sometimes people don't talk because they think by staying quiet, stuff just slides, just gets swept away.
No, I compared it to how I sometimes communicate with my wife. When I find something out and I know she's not going to necessarily be happy about it, I don't tell her right away. And I'm like, oh, I'll tell her tomorrow. And then before you know it, it's the day before and I have to go do something. And I tell her and she's pissed because I've known for a week and I haven't told her. And the Sixers have felt like they They knew, and they were just waiting and waiting and waiting. And at the last possible minute, they had to say it. I mean, because honestly, it's not really that big of a deal. I mean, Keith, to me, it's pretty simple. He played in the Olympics, the start of training camp. The knee wasn't responding well. I don't know if it was swollen or sore or whatever. It didn't respond well. This is no surprise. Nobody should be surprised that Joel Embiid, when he started training camp, maybe the knee didn't respond well, especially after he was playing the Olympics. The dude had knee surgery, meniscus surgery. He missed 2 months of the season. He had previous knee surgery. Oh, look, the knee's sore. It's not ready to go. This is no surprise. It's just like yesterday, the Athletic gets the report that says that the knee was unstable enough that there was concern about further damage being done if Embiid had played last week. Yeah, no kidding. No one questioned whether he should be playing or not. Of course you don't put him out there if he's not ready to start the season. Nobody would have said anything. You might have gotten some fans that were angry or some members of the media that ripped Embiid or the Sixers, whatever. That's going to happen. But for the most part, everybody understands you need this guy healthy in April and May. That's when you need him healthy. Right now, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, you're right. Right now, it doesn't matter. But you know what it is? I think a lot of it has to do with Joel. I think Joel, because let's face it, whenever he gets hurt, he gets criticized, right? People say how fragile he is, this and that, the whole nine. The people who don't like the Sixers have fun on Twitter. And I feel like it's one of those things where he doesn't want people to know that his knee was bothering him. But we all know, like you said, that the knee is bothering him. But I feel like that's the situation it was. But all it does is it makes it worse. Because now you're looking at the organization, and like you said, that report is like, okay, we already knew that, right? But at the same time, it makes the organization look like they can't be trusted. And then all of a sudden you have people bringing up stuff that happened in the past. People are saying, well, where's the president of basketball ops at? You know what I mean? So it's just, it's just one of those things where, like they always say, you shouldn't lie. You shouldn't tell that little white lie, because the next thing you know, you got to keep doubling down on it. Yep. And this is what's happening.
Yeah, you mentioned Daryl Morey. I know Nick said yesterday, and when he said it, the light went off in my head. I said, yeah, he's absolutely right. Daryl Morey needs to address this now. I mean, this is so dumb, and it could be taken care of immediately. It could be taken care of. Daryl Morey needs to come out and address the situation and end it. You agree?
I agree 100%. But I also think that they think that it's one of those things where once Joel comes back, everything's going to be swept under the rug, right? And they don't want Daryl to say anything to incriminate anyone or things like that. And let's face it. So the thing is now, John, so if Daryl Morey does speak, and he does need to speak, but if he does speak, the first question is going to be, what's wrong with Joel's knee? The second question is going to be, if you knew his knee was messed up, why did you give him $193 million extension if you knew the knee was messed up? And then why, did you max out Paul George too? And all this, and these are guys who have injury histories. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, maybe it's best in their eyes
to say nothing.
Well,
here's the headline I take from your appearance today on the show, which was excellent, is that the Sixers are walking on eggshells because of Joel Embiid, because he very much is involved in what is being put out there, and he's very sensitive when it comes to his knee and his injury issues, and he doesn't want to be criticized for it. So the 76ers are kind of in a tough situation because he doesn't want them to say anything, but the Sixers realize that they have to say stuff, at least at some point. And now you get caught in this. Not good.
Yeah. Joel has control over when he plays and when he doesn't play. I mean, he does. I mean, he has control of that. I mean, and it's I hate to say it, it's probably no different than most of these marquee players, right? On these NBA teams, like they run the show. And Joel, he says collaborative effort, and he says he listens, but a lot of times, it's Joel that is making decisions.
Totally agree. Keith Pompey does such a great job for the Inquirer. Also, a proud alum of the University of Pittsburgh. The Panthers are 7-0 this season. There, Keith, a big road game at SMU. Have you been paying attention to the Pitt Panthers?
Yeah, I've been paying attention. I have. At first, believe it or not, though, I mean, because like you watch it and you see the games on TV and you see a half-empty stadiums, so you're kind of like, how good are they actually?
Yeah.
And now it's like, I was in Toronto last week when they beat Syracuse. I was like, okay, now maybe they are for real.
Dominant win. Yeah,
maybe they are for real. I love Fran Brown. I felt bad for him because he's a great guy. I met him when I used to cover Temple, and he was an assistant coach. But at the same time, I can't wait to text him and be like, at the end of the season, like, bro, you had to take it on the chin strap.
SMU's big favorite in the game, though. 7.5-point favorite there, Keith.
I know, that's the thing. But the funny part is, Pitt is the women's volleyball team is really good too. Really? And SMU is the school that like beat them. The only school that the only loss that they have. So I'm kind of like, is the football team going to do the payback? But nah, I mean, I don't know. Like, this is a good test for them. I think SMU is really good too.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Keith, thanks, man. Talk to you soon. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
All right, you got it, man. There's Keith Pompey with some. I didn't realize that there could be a potential revenge game because of a women's volleyball game.
Come on, John. You know about the Pitt women's volleyball team?
I did not. When I lived in Hawaii, the University of Hawaii, they won a national championship in women's volleyball. Women's volleyball is big. You go down to the games at the Stan Sheriff Center, they're sold out. Like big.
I love that.
Oh, so the men's team was winning national championships too.
There was a tweet out there like a couple of weeks ago. It was like, give me your favorite college football team, like a single year. And I was like, no one's probably going to say this, but that Hawaii team from was like 2007, 2008 with Cole Brennan as a quarterback, Devon Fess. I used to stay up late watching those games. I loved that offense and the way they ran. It was fun.
Good old June Jones.
What's his name? Who was the coach for the Falcons? The chubby short guy. Is it Glanville?
Jerry Glanville was the defensive coordinator. Yeah. Jerry Glanville was the Hawaii defensive coordinator. He was a character, dude. He sure was. That was an awesome team. It was. All right, Uncle Jamie's college football locks coming up here in a second. A little bit of Halloween talk as well. But we have to get to something here, and I think we're going to throw it to my guy, JP.
Let's do it, John.
To talk about it. All right, let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk real quick about our friends over at Rite Aid. And we talk about Rite Aid every day, right? Oh, not that one. We talk about Rite Aid every day. Obviously, look. Rite Aid is our stop, right? Obviously, especially what we talk about every day with the flu season, you go into Rite Aid for your medicines, your vaccines, and all you're going to need for that. But guys, it's Halloween, right? So obviously, tonight I'm gonna have a couple of friends over. My wife is gonna have nice little hosting moment. So we're gonna need some candy. Full disclosure, we still haven't got our Halloween candy, so we're doing our last minute trip. We're gonna get our candy. We're gonna get our paper plates for dinner. We're gonna get our cups for our beveraginos. So guys, Rite Aid, of course, with today's holiday, last minute stop. John's got 3. He's got 10 different Halloween parties here today. I'm sure he's gonna be running around as well. So we keep Rite Aid in mind, guys. It's our local neighborhood pharmacy, and you can stop into Rite Aid for whatever you need, last minute stuff. And of course, especially if you have the flu, all right? So you could stop on in, ask your local Rite Aid pharmacist for anything that you may need, any recommendations as well, and of course, they can get you vaccinated. So, of course, guys, just walk into your local Rite Aid, schedule a vaccine or just a visit at riteaid.com. Stage, age, and health restrictions apply. Ask your local Rite Aid pharmacist for more details, John A.
All right. Thank you very much, JP. Ace Hardware Home Services, right around the block with everything you need. Not just to fix it, because they have everything you need to fix it, but they have the person to do the fixing as well. If you have an air conditioning issue, or listen, it's even though it's going to be really warm today, but heating, air conditioning, leaky pipe, toilet, whatever it is, they have the folks for you. AceHardwareHomeServices.com to get started on your next project. From plumbing to heating and cooling, the trusted pros that keep your home humming all year long. And emergency services are available. Something happens on the weekends or after hours, boom, Ace Hardware Home Services gets somebody out to you, right? Plumbing, heating, cooling, electrical, free estimates on equipment installation and replacement with trusted advisors and options that are best suited to fit your home and your budget. And listen, it's service you can trust and satisfaction is guaranteed. That's what Ace Hardware does. They make it right no matter what. Again, visit Ace Hardware Home Services at acehardwarehomeservice.com to get started on your next project.
Love it.
There we go. All right. So you asked me this morning, JP, and Uncle Jamie's college football locks are coming up here in a second. You asked me this morning, like, any mischief night in your neighborhood last night? I'm like, mischief night? Mischief night's not a thing anymore, is it? Kids aren't out there egging and toilet papering and putting sugar in the gas tank. That doesn't happen anymore, does it?
Sugar in the gas tank? I never heard of that one.
Supposed to like totally ruin your car. Yeah.
Okay. I did not know that. That's really sad to hear, John. Like I wasn't doing, Frazier came and told us his stories. I was like, I'll let him tell that story. But
yes,
we were very simple. Like, yes, Ding Dong Ditch was the least, the worst that we did. But we TP'd trees. We threw eggs at houses. We're nothing crazy, but it was, it's mischief.
Did a little bit of mischief. It's mischief night. No, it's not even talked about.
Healthy.
When I was that age, it was like, ooh, mischief night, because you would really do damage. It wasn't just toilet paper in a tree. There were a lot of police in the area, so it's like, all right, mischief night's kind of been shut down.
Yeah, dude.
However, a member of our staff, actually, you'll be doing postgame with them tonight on Broad Street Hockey. Bill Matz was out last night on mischief night, toilet papering his own house. That's his house.
Dude, this is so funny, man.
It's awesome. Bill is so funny.
Dude, he's so freaking funny.
So he did it. His wife, Ava, my girl, Ava, who works at WIP, assistant program director at WIP, she gets up very early to go into work. So Bill did it after she went to sleep. And Ava came out this morning to see the house toilet papered. Probably not knowing who did it. But Bill's out there in the middle of the night throwing toilet paper all over the place.
Well, all she has to do is go on Twitter, right? And she'll find out who just
I'm sure she found out within seconds.
It's so funny, man.
But still.
He's got a great sense of humor, Bill.
Bill's awesome. Yeah, Bill's awesome. It's actually a great idea, toilet papering your own house.
It was a whole thing, though, John. Like, I remember, like, you talked about the school, like, the police would come to our school the day of mischief night, right? And they would have the whole spiel, like, make sure you guys aren't doing anything bad. We're going to be patrolling all night. And we'd be like, okay.
Well, I remember there were kids in our high school that got the police called on them because they went to the grocery store and they were buying eggs. And they literally called the cops. They're like, hey, there's a bunch of high school kids buying eggs. If you're 16 years old on mischief night, you're going in buying 24 eggs. A little suspicious.
I know, dude. It's very simple. You stole a couple eggs from your parents. All your friends would do the same thing, and then there's your eggs.
And you egg the person's house that you hate. Yeah. You can't do that, though. All right, Halloween trick-or-treating tonight. You said that you're having like a hosting party where you give out costumes or whatever.
Yeah, so my wife's going to have a couple of friends. I have post-game, so I won't be diving too deep into that.
That's right.
But yeah, we'll be sitting I'll sit on the porch with them for a little bit. Yeah. I'll have my MacBook out there. I'll watch the game. And the thing is that there's not a lot of kids that do trick-or-treating more. I mean, you probably could speak more onto it. But in my neighborhood, they really don't come out. And I live on a busy street, so I wonder if that's it. Because, like, I know growing up in my neighborhood, my parents also live on a busy street, and we didn't get too many trick-or-treaters. We got a couple. But
no, the kids are trick-or-treating. My neighborhood, there's a lot of houses in a small area, and or like in a development.
But in the suburbs, the good neighbor. Like, I know, like in Cherry Hill, growing up, Earlton was the neighborhood. It was awesome.
I live in a good neighborhood.
So there you go. So the kids know to go to your place.
There are, I won't say half, but there are a lot of full candy bars that are given out. Full candy bars.
Kids know where to go then.
Yeah. In fact, I can think right now on one of the streets, there's like 4 houses in a row where they all sit outside, and it's like, oh yeah, take 2 full-size Kit Kat, full-size Reese's.
Well,
I have to watch myself because this is where I lose control. Over candy.
Sure. Yeah, where are you at with the savory? There was a house in neighborhood Earlton. They would serve soft pretzels and hot dogs for the kids.
Yeah, I haven't seen that. That's a great idea.
I mean, this was also like 15 years ago.
And also, just a warning to anybody out there, if you have children or maybe you're a young person that's watching, if you're 14 or 15 years old and you put an Eagles jersey on, you better not come up to my house looking for candy, bro.
I'm an Eagles fan. What do you mean? This is my costume, dude.
You're too old to be trick-or-treating, but at the very least, you got to do a real costume. Don't put on a Jalen Hurts jersey. That ain't happening, brother. Don't be a Phillies player. I don't want to see a Bryce Harper jersey. You better get dressed up. You better not be 14 or 15 trying to steal my candy. And you take one. We actually have to leave it out on the table because we we go trick or treating. So there's no one. Sometimes my mom comes and she hands it out, but she's not coming up this year.
Yeah, can we just one more quick point? Yeah. That's a violation. Like if someone's leaving the bowl there, don't be a JO.
Take two.
Exactly. Don't take the whole bowl. And,
take two.
And all the other thing too is everyone's got a Ring camera now, so you are going to get caught and you are going to be put on social media. So don't be that JO this year.
Correct. I agree. All right. Well, listen, some great games in college football coming up this weekend, including Penn State. That's right, Penn State, Ohio State. To discuss that and all of his locks is Uncle Jamie. Uncle Jamie's College Football Locks of the Week, brought to you by Central City Toyota, 55 years on Chestnut Street in the heart of University City, centralcitytoyota.com. The general manager of Central City Toyota, Uncle Jamie Haverly, joins us. Uncle Jamie.
Jon Marks, how are you? Nothing worse than the kid showing up who's 15 years old in an Eagles jersey, but even worse, he shows up in a Wentz jersey.
so a dated jersey that he would never wear. It's a
worse, right? Even worse.
Or a Donovan jersey from Modell's that's in terrible condition.
Exactly correct.
Actually, when I think of when Mischief Night was really Mischief Night, it was when you were probably in high school in the 80s, where you just messed stuff up. No one did anything about it. It was almost accepted and assumed that you were going to get egged and you were going to get toilet papered.
I will say this: that was better than Christmas Mischief Night when I was in high school. That was the biggest night, man. The biggest night.
Not anymore. It's been shut down. All right. Despite Penn State fans who won't stop whining that it's a 12 o'clock game on Saturday, and by the way, it's a 12 o'clock game because it's the big Fox game. It's a Fox game at 12 o'clock. It's the Big Ten game. That's why it's not a night game. So the night game sucks this week. Yeah. So stop whining, Penn State fans. James Franklin had to come out yesterday and talk about how they're excited for the 12 o'clock game. It's ridiculous. Anyway, Ohio State comes into Beaver Stadium in Happy Valley, Uncle Jamie, as 3.5-point favorites, even though Penn State is ranked ahead of them. When you look at the polls, what is your thought on this game?
So I think if you're someone who's betting, run away from this game as far as you can. You don't know what's going to go on Drew Aller. It's a game time decision on the Penn State quarterback. Who knows what Ohio State is? You see them, you see how they're playing. I mean, they barely got by Nebraska. My team, Nebraska, they got blown out by Indiana 56-7. Who knows what this game is going to hold? I'll tell you, the line tells you 3.5 at home, Penn State. It's a 12 o'clock game, so you lose some of that night juice. So I think it gets down to Ryan Day and James Franklin in this spot. This is the kind of game that Ryan Day does well in. It's not quite prime time. It's a high-level game. He's playing Penn State, which he generally does well against. So pile all that together. Aller, if he does play, is going to be diminished. Let's take Ohio State in the points.
Yeah, Ryan Day punches down very well. He doesn't punch up well.
Yeah, agreed.
And James Franklin, I would say, doesn't punch up well and punches down well. Listen, we'll see. I agree with you. It's a game that I would stay away from. 3.5 points leads you to Ohio State. If Penn State, if the quarterback isn't healthy and he goes out there and he plays, but he's not healthy, it's maybe even worse. But yeah, this is Penn State, and the numbers are out there. James Franklin has not fared well against the Ohio States and the Michigans and those teams. So if they're able to get a win, this would be huge for Penn State. So
yeah.
That also plays into it. Like at some point, they got to win one of these games. At some point, they got to, and maybe this is the year because I don't know about Ohio State this year. I really don't.
Yeah, nor do I. Yeah, it doesn't seem like they have a lot of team chemistry when you watch that team.
All right, Texas A&M, South Carolina. This is actually the ABC game at night. A&M on the road, 3.5-point favorites. Impressive win last week against LSU. They go on the road against South Carolina. What do you think about this game?
I will say this to you. Marcel Reed, the quarterback that they put in, they've been alternating Connor Wegman and Marcel Reed. They put in Reed last week. He was dynamic in that game against LSU. I mean, just totally turned my prognostication on its head. This is a classic trap game. They're coming in. They're big favorites, primetime game, going to South Carolina. Not easy to pay in South Carolina at night. It's a trap game. Then they're off for 2 weeks. Next week, then they follow up with McNeese State. So They don't have a lot coming, Texas A&M, other than Texas. I think this game is the line is tight because of what Vegas is saying, that this is going to be a toss-up kind of game. I think A&M gets the win, but I'm going to take Carolina and take the points that I'm getting from on the line. I think it's a toss-up game.
Yeah, I agree with you. A big emotional win against LSU, where now, like, look, A&M's arrived, and you go on the road in a tough environment, and you get a battle that you weren't necessarily expecting.
With a freshman quarterback with a quick hook that they got Wegman sitting there, so the kid doesn't play well. They put Wegman in, changes the dynamic of the offense. I think that this is one of those kind of games.
Pitt SMU. I was just talking to Keith Pompey of the Inquirer. He is a Pitt alum and a big Panther fan. Yeah. SMU, huge favorites. They're at home, but still 7.5-point favorites over Pitt. Kind of an SMU line there. What do you think?
John, when was the last time that we talked about SMU in any substantial way? 1985, the Pony Express.
Where they got the death penalty afterwards.
Before the death penalty, right? Exactly. God, they were doing NIL. They were doing NIL but 30 years ago, 40 years ago. So once again, the line screams to me here, because if you watch Pitt, and I've seen Pitt on 4 or 5 games this year, they have looked great. Their quarterback looks great. Narduzzi, that offense that he's running, looked great. But then you have a 7.5-point line going into Dallas against SMU. They have a dynamic running game, running quarterback with this kid Daniels. He can throw it, he can run it. He reminds you of Jaden Daniels a little bit, just in his frame and how he sets up. I love LSU in this game. I think Pitt comes in and gets hammered.
All right, there you have it. Central City Toyota in the heart of University City. Largest service and parts dealership in the city of Philadelphia, which reminds me, Jamie, I wasn't able to make it down on Wednesday, but next Wednesday, I need 4 new tires on the Sienna. I'm coming down on Wednesday. So I need the tires. Yeah. So I'll see you on Wednesday. All right. And again, if you need
fans out there, see Jon Marks and his van at Central City Toyota.
I'll be there Wednesday, probably 9:30, 9:45. So if you want to yell at me, I'll be there. Central City Toyota in the heart of University City, 55 years on Chestnut Street. If you're working in the city, drop your car off to get service. They'll drive you to your office and pick you up on the shuttle, or pick-up and delivery service. That's right. On an appointment basis, they'll pick the car up, service it, deliver it back. CentralCityToyota.com for all of that. And if you're looking to upgrade your ride, Central City has an amazing selection of certified vehicles, and they have some cars under $12,000 if you're on a budget. CentralCityToyota.com. Uncle Jamie, good luck. We'll talk next week.
See you next week.
There he is. Uncle Jamie Haberly of Central City Toyota. There you go.
Love it.
Yeah, Penn State. And by the way, I guess I hadn't said this, and I crushed James Franklin last week. And James Franklin came out after the game and said everything he needed to say. He came out. He seemed truthful, and it seemed sincere, and that's all he needed to do. And it was cleaned up. He came out yesterday, and he was more or less like pumping up the fans, how excited he was, and it's a 12 o'clock game, and 12 o'clock games are big, and all this other stuff. I'm telling you, and I hate to look on social media as that's really what all fans are saying, and that's what everybody is saying. But it's hard to ignore if I'm not talking to a lot of Penn State fans on a regular basis, where am I going to get my sample size from? And shout out to the diehards out there. Thank you, diehards.
Best.
We appreciate you. So where's the sample size that I'm getting if it's not from Twitter or social media or from some Penn State pages or whatever? And to a T, I'm seeing, like, there needs to be an investigation. How isn't Penn State playing at 8 o'clock? This is a primetime game. This should be a whiteout game. This is ridiculous. There should be an investigation. This is unbelievable. It's such disrespect to Penn State. This is Fox's big game of the week. Even though it's at 12 o'clock, they have their pregame show that leads right into this game. This is a huge game for Fox. So that's why it's not the nighttime game.
Is this on the conference? Because obviously didn't they sign a deal with Fox?
Yes. Yeah, they're going to, like, ABC and ESPN doesn't get to choose every big game that they want. Right. They don't just get to say, hey, we get every game and then you guys get the leftovers. It doesn't work like that. Mm-hmm. So they have this game right here, and then ABC has a bad game. It's the A&M and South Carolina game. But anyway, Penn State fans, just enjoy the freaking game.
Take it easy.
Yeah. I actually like 12 o'clock games. I used to go to a lot of Penn State games back in the day. And some people will say the 3:30 is good because it gives you more time to tailgate. But the 12 o'clock game also gives you an opportunity to wake up at 7 o'clock, go get an egg sandwich, get up to the parking lot. You're tailgating by 8. You're going in the stadium by 11:30. The game starts at 12. That's what I prefer. I don't need the extra 7 hours to drink. That's not me.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I'm thinking like as a college kid. So like, yeah, I'm obviously going to start pretty early. I'm starting sometime in the morning. You get the 12 o'clock game. You hopefully, knock on wood, they win. Dude, you have a couple hours to party. You get to be in bed by a normal time, and then Sunday, you can,
Yeah, college kids don't care about that.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah.
They'll wake up and do it all over again.
Yeah, I'm an old guy, so of course I like the 12 o'clock game.
I'm learning, dude. I like day drinking better than like the nighttime stuff.
So much better.
I'm in bed by a normal time. Sunday I could still do things. So
day drinking extremely underrated.
Yeah, the young ones will understand once they get to
beach
30.
Morning drinking is the best. I'm done drinking by 11 a.m. I'm done. I'm sleeping by 12:30.
No, dude, you're a breakfast drink. That's a breakfast drinker right there.
So JP, I know you're a big Shore guy. You're a Brigantine guy.
Oh yeah.
So I'm Ocean City. We do 1, maybe 2 weeks down ashore every year. And I am the guy. I'm cooking breakfast. I'm up early. I'm cooking breakfast. And I'm set up at the beach by 8 a.m.
Oh.
And I got multiple tents set up.
Yeah.
I got the cooler. We bring the cooler down when we actually walk down. But I go down with the chairs. My brother-in-law, Adam, we go down. We set everything up.
Yeah.
So we have our space. We spread it out. And then we have our compound. And then I come home. The kids are getting dressed. I'm loading up the cooler. And I'll put my first high noon about 8:30 or so, 8:30, 9 o'clock.
John.
By 10 o'clock, I'm probably 3 seltzers or Moscow Mules deep.
And
I'm
look
hammered.
You, dude, I love that. The Moscow Mule. I'm coming to the realization that's going to happen. I'm going to have to do that eventually because right now my father-in-law is the one that wakes up at 7 in the morning, drops off the truck off the drive-on beach in Brigantine. Then he walks back until everyone's ready. So I'm like, eventually I'm going to have to go out and help him and wake up that early after we just drank the night before. So it's going to be interesting when that happens.
So I am very much a good person.
Does Ace Hardware have a person that just sets up the beach, or?
You know what though? They do have places. There's a guy that's in that does. Well, he actually does it anymore, but he was doing radio in another market, and he had this side business where you would essentially he would at the beginning of the week drop off coolers and chairs and everything else, and like this big vehicle. Not motorized, but it has these big wheels, and then you just drag everything down to the beach. You pay like $500, and then they drop it off and they pick it up. So I looked into it down the shore. There's places in Ocean City where they'll drop off one of the carts and a cooler and chairs. You pretty much do a la carte what you want, and they'll drop it off, and then you just drive it down. But having somebody to actually do all the work for you is that's a great idea.
By the way, what's going on in Ocean City? It's like hotel. They're like knocking down all these old businesses. Yeah, I'm sure you saw the Gilligan's Wonderland. They closed that down.
It's a
day after. It's already painted up. They're ready to build that hotel.
It's the nature of the world, man. I hate it, but it's just unsustainable. A lot of those rides are old. You're a seasonal business. You're trying to break even. I'm pretty sure that they already had dug in to try to keep the business that was going. Meanwhile, if you're a part of that family and you're like, all right, this property's worth however many millions of dollars, are we going to keep operating at a loss or grinding to break even or make a little bit of money? Or are we going to take $10 million, I'm giving an arbitrary number out there, and just take our money and invest it or do something else with it? It sucks. So I grew up going to Wonderland. There's Playland, which is going to be completely nuts now with only one amusement park in Ocean City. But yeah, it sucks.
Do kids still love that? Like, is there not like a business for it or like a demand for it?
Oh, there's a business for it. I just it's tough to find employees. It takes a lot of employees to operate those things. The ride and the maintenance on the rides and everything else, it can't be an easy business to run. So could they make a living doing it? Sure. Are they getting rich doing it? No freaking way.
Yeah. I mean, I used to get jealous when I was young, when I was like in like, your late teens, early 20s. I used to get jealous of those kids that had like those shore jobs, like working at the water park or something like that.
I was one of those guys.
Oh, that's sick. Did you live down the shore for the summer?
I lived at the Delaware Beach.
Okay.
Still
got to go there.
I lived in Dewey Beach, which is next to Rehoboth Beach, and I worked in Rehoboth Beach for 2 summers. On the boardwalk at a French fry place.
Wow.
Thrasher's French fries.
How'd you not get fat, man?
Well, I was super skinny back then. I could eat anything I wanted. But it was and this was 1997 and 1998. And we lived in a house. Me and my buddies lived. I had been to the Delaware beaches, but that wasn't where we went. But my buddy went to the University of Delaware. My buddy Pete went to the University of Delaware, and he had friends that were getting a house for the summer. He's like, "Hey, you want to do it?" I'm like, "Yeah." We're making cheesesteaks for a living, and I'm like, "Yeah, absolutely." So I moved down there for the summer. It was awesome.
That sounds like fun, John.
Oh man, it was awesome. When you just didn't give a damn about anything other than waking up the next day and you have enough money for a pack of smokes and some beer.
Some booze, yeah.
I was actually thinking about it because there were no cell phones. So we had to go down and get a landline. Imagine, just as a father now, I more or less to my mom was like, all right, driving down to live at the beach, see ya. And I had a landline. And like occasionally I would call and check in with her because I was rarely home. But there was like, all right, see ya, bye. I'd maybe talk to her once a week or once every other week. I was 20 years old.
It's crazy how society's changed. Now we can't live without this, dude. Like this is everything.
Dude, I got my driver's license and I took a 4-speed stick shift Mazda GLC 1985 down the shore with my friends.
Oh, it's awesome.
And so I was 16 and a half. And my mom's like, all right, see ya. Just call when you get down there. And then I called, you do a fake collect call where you call and say, collect call from, I'm here. And then they deny the charges and you just hang up so they know that you arrived safely. And then I come home on Sunday.
Wow, I did not know that about that trick. Okay.
The collect call trick. Well, you didn't have to deal with collect calls.
I was too young for that.
Yeah, we've come quite a way. All right, everybody out there that's still watching, thank you. Our mad chatters on YouTube that check in every morning at 8 o'clock. Happy Halloween to everybody. Check out the podcast. JP's going to post it up here shortly. It's Football Friday tomorrow. Woo. Have a safe Halloween. All right, you don't have to. You know what we had to do when I was a kid with Halloween, JP?
Yeah.
Our parents had to inspect the candy, or you would take it to a hospital and they would put it through an X-ray machine because sickos would put razor blades in candy bars.
Another thing they would talk to us in school before trick-or-treating.
Who does that?
Dude, it's still a crazy world.
Now we just shoot people up in mass murders at random.
Yeah,
but back then you didn't do that. You just put razor blades in Snickers bars. So anyway, have fun tonight. And if you're out having a good time, please don't drink and drive.
Yes,
tonight
please.
is not the night to get a DUI or to get in trouble. No, there's no night for that. But please don't drink and drive. Call an Uber.
Yes.
All right. Follow me at Jon Marks Media. JonMarksMedia at gmail.com. JONMARKS Media. Check in and say hello. JP, how do we find you and everything that you do? You'll be Flyers postgame tonight with Bill
Flyers
Matz.
postgame. We got a triple header for myself here. I'll be producing the Phillies show at 11 o'clock today. Then tonight, pre and postgame show, Charlie and Bill. I think Bill will be Charlie will be at the center. Bill will be remote for the postgame show. But you can follow me at Parcero, PARCERO Philly. That's on all social medias. And I can't wait for Football Friday, John.
Tomorrow, 8 a.m. We'll see you live.
Be there. Peace. Be squared. See you guys.
See ya.
We all silly like the mayor.